search for a young female hiker who vanished a week ago during a solo hiking trip in Washington State. 24-year-old Kate Huether, look at this beautiful young lady, was last heard from when she texted a friend that she was setting out for a hike on a trail known for its steep, rugged, forested terrain. Nobody has heard from her since. Despite days of grueling searches by rescuers on foot, horseback, and in the air, no sign of Kate. Has the trail gone cold? Cops say they have, quote, suspended the search indefinitely, end quote. Meanwhile, a disturbing development has added to the escalating anxiety. On the same day that Kate vanished, a mystery man reportedly flashed somebody on that very same trail. Police reportedly know about this guy but haven't located him. But they also say they don't think he's involved. How do they know that? Are they psychic? All this news has dealt a crushing blow to Kate's parents, but they're not giving up hope.
It's been a long time. I mean, Kate's a strong young woman. She's a great outdoors person. She's loved the outdoors ever since she was a little kid. We're still holding out hope that Kate will come back to us alive and we'll be able to hold her and talk to her again and tell her how much we love her.
Another family in agony. Here's the thing. Police say they will resume the search if they get more leads. If you know anything, we're posting a number for a 24-hour emergency line, and I'm also taking your calls. 1-877-JVM says, I am joined tonight by Kate's mom, Rosemary, for an exclusive Issues interview. She is standing by on the phone. Also, John Lusich, veteran criminal investigator, Stacey Hanowitt, supervisor of the sex crimes unit in the Florida prosecutor's office, and author of My Privates Are Private. But we begin with my buddy Travis Mayfield, reporter for Como News Radio. Travis, good to see you after all this time. Before I get to Kate's mom, what is the very latest?
I actually just got off the phone 10 minutes ago with the chief investigator in this case, Jane, and he tells me they are following up on a couple of new leads. He said he wasn't ready to talk about those leads at this moment. He also wasn't very hopeful about those leads, but he did say they were out there. As for that flasher, he told me that they have a description of the guy, they have a description of the car, and he said they're not ruling out that these things might be connected, but he said at this moment there's no evidence to say they are. One other new piece of information just in the last 10 minutes that we're learning from this investigator, he said that a similar report of a flashing in the area came a couple of months ago, so they're really trying to piece this all together. This chief investigator tells me that they may have suspended this search, but he says this is really weighing heavily on them, and they want to have an answer for this family.
Do they think it's foul play or not? Quick question,
At this moment,
Travis.
they're considering this a missing persons case. But he said they've got detectives on this case, and they're following up everything they can.
All right. I want to go to the mother of this missing hiker, Rosemary Huether. Mrs. Huether, thank you so much for joining us, and I know you've got to be going through complete agony at this time. How is your family holding up?
Well, it is very, very difficult. You know, my husband is out there now, and Kate's missing, and I'm home just trying to keep everything else going here, and family here. And Kate's younger brother here is with us. He has special needs, so I'm just trying to keep him as comfortable as possible, and trying to talk to my husband as much as possible.
And we're looking at a picture of your beautiful daughter with the dog, but she didn't take the dog hiking. She left the dog at home?
Yes, that's what I understand.
Here's what I don't get. Here's what I don't understand, Rosemary. The cops originally said it was not suspicious. Now, I just don't buy it. Anytime a woman who is hiking alone or walking alone goes missing, to me, it's right away suspicious, immediately, especially if there's a flasher. I don't know how cops could say, well, we don't think those are connected. How do they know this flasher isn't connected?
I don't really know. I know that Kate usually doesn't hike alone, although it is not, I'm not surprised. If it was later in the day, she's a very avid hiker, needs to get exercise, loves the outdoors, bike. She's going to school in Portland State University. She takes pretty heavy-duty classes, and for her, even an hour hike makes a huge difference for her. So, but my concern is that Kate usually is very good about where she's going and making sure that she comes down. Could she have gone a path? We don't know if this is a path she's familiar with. Could she have slipped? could she have fallen? And yes, we are concerned there was a flash earlier in the morning. So, you know, our hope is that, my understanding is that there are some people still out there. My husband's out there with a friend and roommates and some other people still searching, but they are looking at other possibilities, and they did tell me that if anything was found whatsoever, that they would be back on the search.
Mrs. Huether, I want to jump in with Stacey Honowitz, Florida prosecutor. What do you make of this, Stacey?
Well, look, Jane, anytime you have, like you said, a young girl that's gone missing and someone who's an avid hiker, like her mother said, who usually checks in, who knows the outdoors, who's athletic, you have to start thinking that maybe something went wrong. And especially if there was somebody on that trail who was flashing people early on. So I think it was premature for one of the investigators to say, we don't think it's connected. And certainly now they probably are backpedaling to a certain extent, because they have to look at every lead to see if there is some kind of connection. They've had search parties out there. They haven't been able to find her, and they haven't had any kind of trace evidence to say that there's a connection. But certainly you have to look at that.
This story happens all the time. I mean, especially in the wake of all the similar stories we've covered in the past. How many times do we have to say it? Laura Vogel, her whereabouts a mystery. She vanished hiking in Hawaii by herself. Meredith Emerson, a Georgia woman who went for a walk alone, was murdered by a drifter. Christy Cornwell from Georgia, walking by herself, another unsolved disappearance. John Lusich. My big issue, of course, why should women be afraid to walk alone? But we have to act immediately when a woman goes missing, because look at the track record.
Absolutely. Women shouldn't be afraid to walk alone, but they should be cautious, without a doubt. If you take a look at this disappearance, this woman, the parents are saying that it's totally out of character. Therefore, that in itself makes it suspicious. You'll find that law enforcement sometimes is hard-pressed to come up with and tell you what's going on or how they're working this case.
Let me jump in, John. Shouldn't they be searching for a possible abduction? Shouldn't their search go from the rugged mountains to, the rest of the state and the surrounding states, because this could be an abduction?
Absolutely, and they may be treating it that way, Jane, without saying that. And let me tell you why they might be doing this. They don't want to raise the awareness of a suspect to start covering his tracks. If the suspect out there believes that there's nothing going on and they have no leads, he's less apt to cover his tracks. So the cops get a jump on him. Second of all, if they thought doing continuing the search would be fruitful, they're going to use those resources best as necessary so they don't waste time.
Got it. D. Indiana, your question or thought, ma'am?
Yes, I'm wondering, when these hikers go out by themselves, why do they not carry those little blowhorns that they've got in one hand and pepper spray in another?
Well, ma'am, that's a good question. Rosemary, even more to the point, did your daughter have a cell phone? Where's the cell phone?
She did have a cell phone, and our understanding is that she told the person she was supposed to meet for dinner later on that she was leaving into the car to charge.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Darn. You know, that, it just, Stacey, that just turns my stomach.
Well, it does, Jan, and I know that you are very passionate about the war on women, as everybody is, and you always say women should not be afraid. But as the gentleman said, women still have to be cautious. And if you know that there are instrumentalities that you can use, if God forbid you're abducted or somebody's following you, such as pepper spray or a blowhorn or just the cell phone, then you have to send a message to your audience. You must be cautious and you must be smart and use those things.
And Rosemary, we have 5 seconds. They found a credit card receipt, right?
Yeah, actually it was a receipt from a bookstore that she frequents.
I want you to know, Mrs. Huether, we're going to stay on top of this. We're going to get your daughter's face out there. We're praying that she comes home okay, safe and sound.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, fantastic panel.
I think they ought to get her dog and send her dog up the mountain. Let the dog sniff some of her clothing and see if her own dog can find her. I think that's important to do. It's better to do it than not do it.